Hello, Aries, and welcome to Soul Guidance with Adriana. I'm a spiritual life coach and I help you choose your own truth. I've got an intuitive message for you today about your week, so let's get started. Card to represent you right away, Three of Swords, Morning. Feeling the energy of looking back to the past and a lot of energy of regret. I'm almost feeling more of a Five of Cups energy with this card. We're looking back at ways that we've been wounded or hurt. And I'm not sure what the other cards are, but I'm feeling like the message with this card is it's really time to move on because the hurt is done. There's no amount of rehashing that's going to help the hurt heal. And so it's really time to just look forward and let bygones be bygones. I feel like what went on with this Three of Swords had to do with some betrayal, where someone should have been there for you and they weren't. And, again, I'm curious to see what your other cards are, but going back to that betrayal and rehashing it is really not going to work and serve you this week. Okay, looking ahead, we've got victory. I like this a lot. And looking back, we've got the World. So let me explain this. This is the energy that will benefit you or help you. This is the energy that challenges you or pulls you back. So this is forward, this is back. Now, we've got the Victory card looking at this Three of Swords. So some of this is about shifting your perspective to look at what happened with that betrayal and to see it as a source of growth and to look at what you gained from it. Maybe you gained better instincts. Maybe you gained better discernment. Maybe you gained a better awareness of, when you think back, okay, here's where I kind of left my intuition. Here's kind of where I left my gut feeling. There is a learning process. And if you really step back and look at this, you've gained a lot more than what you've lost. You're in a much better position having gone through the experience than if you hadn't. And as long as you can stay looking at that positive energy, I see that your momentum opens up and that the way kind of clears for you. And you will feel a lot more confident, a lot more supported because you will have taken ownership of this situation. You will have said, well, yeah, that sucked. I learned a lot. I got burned, but I'm so much stronger now. I am here. And then the universe will respond to that and send you more. The card is called Victory. Send you more victories. Now let's look at the World, because the World is the challenging card. And this has to do with redoing your story about this Three of Swords. Okay, it's almost like they're asking you for a paradigm shift, to shift your world, to tell yourself something different about what happened. Because the world that was created based on the story that you were betrayed and you were a victim and you were in this circumstance and everything happened against you, that created your world a certain way. But the problem is that you've exhausted the possibilities of that world and you're limited by that world. And this is such a powerful thing, Aries, because this world is actually self-created by the stories you tell, by the words you use, by the things you tell yourself, and what you tell other people about this whole experience. When you can shift your world, the universe understands you don't want that experience anymore. When you keep your world the same, the universe says, oh, well, that's where he or she wants to stay. And then it sends you more and more experiences that are resonant or congruent with this world. And the great thing about this is it's all within your power to shift. Sometimes there are times where we have to just go through things or experience them because we've written them in our chart or it's just meant to happen. But in this case, Aries, you're in the driver's seat here. You can change your perception just as easily as you created it. So let's get a little more information. We've got the moon. We've got the high priestess. Oh man, Aries, this is super interesting. This is very similar energy here. Okay. Your intuition is at a peak, going to be at a peak level this week, but your emotions are also going to be at a peak level this week. And the problem is that intuition and emotion can use the same channel. So you notice we've got water on this card and we've got snow on this card, which is essentially water, right? It's frozen water, but that's very significant. It's still water. It's water that's not moving, versus emotional water is all over the place trying to go all out. So the biggest thing I can tell you about this is your intuition will be very strong, but the only way you're going to be able to access it is by staying calm, staying grounded, and staying impersonal. The moon is all about subjective emotions and what it takes to feel safe. A lot of times our emotional reactions come out of either I feel safe or I don't feel safe. It's very instinctive, and a lot of times we can't even catch it. It's just like it comes up and it's there and you're like, oh my God, how did I get here? It's not one of those, I'm thinking, oh, now I feel a certain way. It's just right there. It's almost out of our control. The only thing we can do is be aware of it and understand that when it does come up, that emotion is not objective. It is subjective, looking at how is this affecting me? What is this doing to me? And when you're in that frame of mind, your filter is a little bit cloudy and you can't get the full picture of what your intuition says to you. So this is a tricky message, Aries, because it's kind of like trust yourself and don't trust yourself, right? It's trust your higher self, trust your best self, but don't necessarily take your emotional reactions as gospel truth, okay? Because that's just it, they're reactions. There is a truth behind them. There is a truth at the end of it, but it is not the truth itself. Make sure to spend some time in quiet reflection so that your intuition can talk to you, and trust the moments of stillness. There's a lot of stillness with this card, the power of stillness, which, quite frankly, I'm not a fire sign, but that's even difficult for me to deal with. So I understand, Aries, if you find this challenging. Just those moments of quiet when you can say to yourself, what am I really sensing? What's really going on here? And then you just take the information and then move on to the next moment. There's mystery also with these two cards. So what the answers you're looking for may not be available to you through conventional means. And what I mean by that is either the logic won't really make sense, or you'll be watching people and it's like you'll be missing a piece, trying to figure out their behavior from their actions, and you're just missing something because it's just not holding together. And that's when you've got to really trust your instincts and trust the unseen. But again, to make a distinction between what's going on with you and your reaction and what's actually coming through. If it is coming through you, there's an element of detachment, and it doesn't trigger any fear, it doesn't trigger any anxiety, it doesn't trigger any adrenaline. So, to share with you my own learning how to distinguish between these two, there are times when I've gotten instincts about something, but because it's personal, I feel very emotional about it. And then I start to put my own spin or my own advice on what I think the situation should be. But when I get information that is purely from my higher self or from my guides or whatever, it almost feels like reading the newspaper, or just like, oh, here's a stylus. I don't feel anything with it. I have a knowing feeling, but I don't feel any personal emotion with it. It's just, oh, here's some information. Oh, here's there. For instance, I had a friend And she's been having some health things, and my guides out of the blue said to me she's dehydrated, remind her to rehydrate. I didn't feel any kind of emotion about that, and texted her, and lo and behold, she says, yep, I ran out of electrolytes, I need to reorder them anyway. So the point is that you can tell if it's true information from your guides and from your higher self if there is no personal emotion with it. If it's personal emotion, then that's something else. Okay, Aries. I always love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me. I really love doing these readings, and I look forward to seeing you next time.